Start in the closet. Closet's got lots of baseball cards. Every year for Christmas, Santa Claus brings me instead of a complete set of the Topps cards, but I haven't opened them. I think I've got a complete every year since 1989. I've got a complete set of Topps cards.
So that's 25 years.
That's a few years. Plus, I've got cards that I had when I was a kid, and I've got some autographed baseballs. Quite a few autographed baseballs. Quite a few bobbleheads. This is when they won 116 games.
Those two fell out.
Yeah. And anyway, I have lots of cards.
What's this picture behind you?
Picture behind me was when I retired from Ike. The Ike PE teachers and thing had this made up. See who's in the picture? C. Bodeen. I don't play for the Mariners. But they had that made up and gave that to me. Like I was giving Brett Boone a high five. I just scored a run or something.
And you got a picture of Mom there.
And then I put a picture of Mom in there. Yeah.
Well, show us this room. Tell Josh about this room a little bit too.
Well, the main thing, I started with hats. I like to collect Major League Baseball hats, and I've collected, and then not only hats, but hats I've had when I was coaching teams. And when I was playing, like, where is it? Where the heck did it go? It's got to be here. It's a red hat, it's got an NS on it. Where did it go? Can't believe it's not. I don't see it. It was when I played Little League Baseball. It's not up here. Where did it go?
It might be in there.
So when I was, have you been watching the Little League World Series on TV at all? Well, I played Little League like you did. And this was I made the North Seattle All-Stars when I was 12, and I thought we had a pretty good team. And we all wanted to go to Williamsport and play in the World Series. But we got beat in the district tournament. And so we didn't make it to the state tournament. But I think we could have, but you know, just that's baseball, we didn't win. We could have, but we weren't. And then this is my first baseball uniform I had, and this was actually a uniform that was your grandfather's. My mother sewed and made it fit for me because I didn't have a uniform.
Grandma Seal.
But that's my Little League hat from when I was 12 years old. So that's an old hat. So I started collecting hats, you know, a long time ago. And I'll show you. So these two hats, this was when I was, I think, a junior in high school, and I played on the Babe Ruth All-Stars in Huntsville, Alabama. This was my high school All-Star hat, my Babe Ruth All-Star hat. So I was collecting, I've had that a long time. This is my high school hat when I played on my high school team. And my senior year in high school, I don't know if I still got that ball's around here someplace. We didn't lose a game. We were the state champions. We had a really good team.
And you played what position?
On that team, I played left field.
Uh-huh. I didn't know that. I thought you were...
I played on my high school team 3 years. I was a second baseman my sophomore year and a second baseman my junior year. And our shortstop was the same guy our sophomore year and junior year. And when we became seniors, the shortstop got moved to center field because there was a shortstop came up that was better. And I got moved to left field because there was a second baseman that came up that was better. And the shortstop who came up, he became the first black quarterback to play football in the Southeastern Conference. He was really a good player. He went on and played in the Canadian Football League and won 2 Grey Cup championships playing up there. He was really a good player. And the kid who played second base ahead of me was really a good player. He became an All-American at Florida State University. So I moved to left field, but that's my high school hat. And then when I started coaching at Sela, and this is the first hat I had when I coached 8th grade baseball at Sela. And then I started coaching high school ball at Sela, and this was when I coached high school ball at Sela, and this was when I coached the American Legion team, and we were called Upper Valley out in Sela, which is 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. So I started collecting hats, and then Upper Valley merged and then became the Pepsi Packs. And the Pepsi Packs are really good right now. And so this was when I coached the Pepsi Packs team, and I coached the Pepsi Packs. And so I got my Sela High School when I coached at Sela, and then I went to Eisenhower High School and coached at Eisenhower. There's a different Eisenhower hats when I coached at Eisenhower.
How long did you coach at Eisenhower?
I coached it 6 years at Eisenhower.
I didn't realize it was that long.
And then I became athletic director. And these are some of my good players at Eisenhower. And this is when I got to coach against my nephew who played for Newport High School. And his team came over and we played. It was fun to play his team. And now he lives in Arizona. You know, his dad is Dennis. You'll see Dennis today. So baseball has been important to me. And when I was a kid, I collected baseball cards. And I would a lot of baseball cards came on the back of cereal boxes, and so I'd cut them out. And these are a lot of my old cards from when I was a little older than you. These are probably 1962, 63.
God, Ernie Banks.
And
God, Nellie Fox. There's Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra, Hank Aaron. Just I gotta put glasses on. I can't read. Carl Yastrzemski. Al Kaline. Rich Ronalds was a really good player. Tim McCarver. He was a really good catcher. He just retired as an announcer. Harmon Killebrew. Harmon Killebrew was in the Hall of Fame. I've got a Harmon Killebrew ball here. Whoops. He's in the Hall of Fame. And I got that ball signed by a friend of mine who knows Harmon Killebrew.
Really?
Well,
In 1984.
That's when he went into the Hall of Fame, 84. And I've got some other Hall of Fame balls, but I saw a picture of him.
Is that a game?
That's a baseball game. It's fun to play. I'll show you. Oh, here. I knew I had this ball. When I was in high school, my senior year, this was a game ball from but we were the state champions. We went 20 wins, no losses. We scored 119 runs, and our opponents only scored 17 in 20 games. We had 11 shutouts. This guy, Eddie Eccles, signed with the White Sox. He was really a good player. Probably would have made the major leagues, except he tore his knee up. And way back then, they couldn't fix things like they can now. So he tore his knee up and he was gone. And Max Burleson was our head coach, and he was really a good guy. John Dudley was really a good guy. So this I collected from when I was in high school. I kept that. That means a lot. Here's a ball I got when I was a kid. I think I ordered this ball. And these are not real autographs, but they're copies, exact copies of those guys' autographs. Stan Musial, Clete Boyer, he was a third baseman for the Yankees. Mickey Mantle, he was my hero. Stan Musial was a great player for the St. Louis Cardinals. Warren Spahn was a great pitcher for the Milwaukee Braves, left-handed pitcher. Brooks Robinson was a great third baseman. In fact, I went and met him with your great-grandma Seal when we went to Fan Fest. We went to the 2001 All-Star Game in Seattle, and I got his autograph and a picture taken with him. And that's Ray Herbert. I think he was a pitcher, left-handed pitcher. Anyways, but those aren't real, but I've had that since I was a kid. Where'd that go? That goes in the glove.
I thought it was the Milwaukee Brewers.
They're the Milwaukee Brewers now. They used to be the Milwaukee Braves. And then the Milwaukee Braves moved to Atlanta, and the Atlanta Braves are the Atlanta Braves, but before the Atlanta Braves were the Atlanta Braves, they were the Milwaukee Braves. And I'll show you some pictures in here. This is a glove that I got, a Yogi Berra glove. And my friends would come over, and one of us would be a pitcher and one of us would be a catcher. So I wanted to have a catcher's glove, as we'd pitch and we'd make a home plate. And whoever was the catcher would call balls and strikes, and we would try to strike out. When we'd get 3 strikeouts, if he threw 3 strikeouts, then I'd go and I'd pitch until I got 3 strikeouts, and we'd see if we'd get strikeouts or walks, because, you know, ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4, well, he walks, you know what I'm saying? So we just played that game. And if we walked 4 in a row, then we gave up a run. The guy scored a run, because I walked in a run. So we'd play with this. And then we're going to go out into the hall now. A number of years ago, I was down at a store that doesn't exist. It's down in the Valley Mall. I don't even remember the name of the store. Aunt Lena was shopping, and I was just walking around the store, and I saw this picture. And the picture was baseball, so it intrigued me. That was Yogi Berra, and that intrigued me. And then I saw this glove, Larry Yogi Berra. Larry Yogi Berra. So I thought, wow, that's intriguing. That's really interesting. I was looking at the picture, and then there was a picture here, and it's Don Larson in 1956 in the World Series. He threw a perfect game. You know what a perfect game is? Nobody gets on base. When he pitched the first inning, he got 3 outs. Second inning, he got 3. No walks, no errors, no hits. Nobody got on base. Only 27 batters came to plate. All 27 he got out. It's a perfect game. It's the only time anyone's ever pitched a perfect game in the World Series.
Did they score?
Yeah, his team, the Yankees, scored, so they won. But nobody got on base for the Dodgers. And Jackie Robinson played in that game. And that was Game 5 of the 1956 World Series. The next game, Game 6, Jackie Robinson got his very last hit in Major League Baseball because he retired after that year. But then the Yankees won Game 7.
Can Josh try on that catcher's mitt?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not done with this picture, though.
I think it's a little smaller than mine.
Yeah. It's a neat catcher's mitt. So I kept looking at this picture, Josh. You know, and then they had like the ticket stub, and then I just kept looking at it, and then I looked closer at the picture. And this is Yogi Berra's jersey, and I kept looking closer at the picture, and I looked closer at the picture, and then I could see that this jersey used to have, I'm guessing, number 44 on it. Can you see where there was a 4 right there?
Yeah.
And so they took. Back in the day, they took the old number off and put a new number on. And they would never do that today. And so when I saw that in that picture, that was the final straw that I had to buy the picture. I thought, well, that's just neat, because they would never do that today. They would just make a new jersey. They would never take the number off the back and put a new number on. So I was attracted to this picture because I had this glove, and I liked Yogi Berra. And then when I saw that, so I had this picture. I don't know how long, a long time. But baseball's always been important to me. That makes sense? And somewhere in here too, is this it? Yeah, I think this is it right here. I have a Yogi Berra autographed baseball and the certificate of authenticity for Major League Baseball. Lena got that for me for Christmas one year. So that's kind of special to me. I've always liked Yogi Berra. So I've got baseballs. This is an old glove I had. This glove
Is the first base.
is the first mitt I ever had. And you know who bought me this glove? Jim. I was 5 years old. He went down and bought me this glove. And in some place we have movies of him tossing the ball to me and me making my first catch that I ever caught. Anyway,
Let him try that glove out.
this is my very first baseball glove I ever had.
That's the first baseman's glove. Josh, ask Uncle Chuck that question about right-handed, left-handed catchers.
Is there any left-handed catchers for Major League Baseball?
Not for Major League Baseball. There are occasionally left-handed catchers in high school and occasionally in college, but not usually in the majors. I don't know if any of it that have ever made it to the majors. And I'm not exactly sure why, except they just think throwing to first base. I guess most hitters are right-handed hitters, and so the catcher has a better chance to throw. But, you know, I've never been told why they don't have left-handed catchers. I've had a left-handed catcher catch for me at Yakima Valley Community College. As long as they can catch and be quick and throw good, they're good. I've seen good, successful catchers, but I've never seen one in the major leagues. Anyway, so that was my first glove I had. This ball was in there. This ball has got I don't even know who these guys are. I don't think these are any real big. They're Major League Baseball players, but I don't remember who they were. I can't even read their autographs. And this was probably my second glove I got.
Let him try that on.
That's a three-fingered glove. So you had to put two fingers in one of those fingers.
Josh was talking about the old-timer gloves. He thought my glove was an old-timer. I said, well, my glove is really the first of the modern era, but this is an old-timer's.
I'll show you an older one.
It actually looks like a glove.
Well, that's what they were. They kind of were gloves to cushion your hand from catching the ball. It was just a glove. It was supposed to cushion your hand. But they didn't make it real efficient for getting the ball out of there and making a throw to someplace. This was the third glove I ever had. I remember walking down, what was the name of that sporting goods store? Chip's Sporting Goods.
Mm-hmm.
Chip's Sporting Goods in Lake City. I walked down and I'd saved money and I went down there and I bought this glove at Chip's Sporting Goods. And I've had to put new leather in here because the leather's worn out.
That's kind of like my glove now, isn't it, Josh?
But I had this glove. I don't know how old I was when I got this glove, but I've had this glove for a long time. So my first three gloves I've got.
Wow, what a room.
And this glove, this was a glove I bought for, this was probably the first glove I bought for Megan. You know my daughter Megan?
Yeah.
She probably doesn't even know I've got this down here. I don't know if I remembered it. So, now we can look at some of these baseball cards that I was talking about. See what that says right there? That's abbreviation for Milwaukee Braves. That's who Hank Aaron played for, was the Milwaukee Braves. And there's Harmon Killebrew. And Joe Torre used to manage the Yankees. There's a picture of him. He's now an executive for Major League Baseball. Willie McCovey was a great hitter. Leon Wagner was a great hitter. Leon Wagner used to hit like this. Leon Wagner used to hit with his hands apart. There were a few other players way back in the past who used to do that. Leon Wagner, he's the last guy I probably ever to hit with his hands apart instead of together. But he did that. We could look at all these pictures. It would take a long time to look at all these pictures. But Eddie Matthews, he played for the Milwaukee Braves. The M on their hat, they were the Milwaukee Braves. Sandy Koufax, I got to see him pitch in against the Dodgers, against the Braves in Atlanta. And Mickey Mantle, I finally got to see him play in Kansas City. He was my hero, but I only got to see him play one time. His last year, we were driving. Your grandfather was in the Army, and he flew home to Huntsville, where I lived in Huntsville, Alabama. And then he was going to fly up and get together with your grandmother because they weren't married yet. He was going to Seattle, and this was the summer of 67. And then, but when he flew back, I got to go with him. I got to fly back. Did Vonnie fly too?
I can't remember.
But I got to fly back up to Seattle with him, which was really neat. And then my mom and dad drove up to Seattle. And then when we were driving back to Alabama, because I lived in Alabama, I was looking in the newspaper. There wasn't ESPN and there wasn't all the sports and stuff, but I looked in the newspaper and I realized that the Yankees were in Kansas City. And it wasn't too far off our track to where we were going. And I convinced my mom and dad to make a bit of a detour on our trip. And we went to Kansas City, and so I got to watch the Kansas City A's, who are now the Oakland A's. They used to be in Kansas City. I got to watch the New York Yankees play, and I got to watch Mickey Mantle play. And I was hoping I was going to get to watch this guy play, Elston Howard, because I was a big Elston Howard fan. But that very day, he got traded to the Boston Red Sox. So I didn't get to see him play. But I did get to see Mickey Mantle play, and I didn't get to see him hit a home run, but he did get a single. So that was pretty neat. And then Willie Mays, he was so good. These two guys were great center fielders.
I've got his card, and it's also signed.
Wow.
It's not the original one.
That's pretty nice. Anyway, I've got a lot of old cards.
So someday we could come over and
I'll go through them.
look through some of these.
Oh yeah. He just got put into the Hall of Fame. Well, these Tony La Russa, Joe Torre, both just got put into the Hall of Fame for managing, along with a manager named Bobby Cox, who used to manage the Atlanta Braves. And 1960, well, these are 1962 cards. But 1961 was it was really a fun summer for me because Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris both were hitting a lot of home runs, and they played for the New York Yankees. And Babe Ruth had the record, 60 home runs. And it became apparent like in late July, well, maybe in late June, that Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris maybe had a chance to break Babe Ruth's record of 60 home runs. And so they kept, every day I'd get up in the newspaper, I'd have to read, because our news we didn't have TV, we didn't have us, so I had to wake up in the morning to read the newspaper, see if Mickey Mantle or Roger Maris had hit another home run. And I wanted them to break Babe Ruth's record. And then Mickey Mantle got an abscess, he got an infection on his hip. And so he couldn't play anymore, but he hit 54 home runs. And then on October 1st, I'll go back this ball. On October 1st, where's that ball? Where would that ball be? On October 1st, 1961, Roger Maris hit his 61st home run, breaking Babe Ruth's record. But the major leagues had changed, and they played 162 games now. And when Babe Ruth played, they made 154 games. And so the commissioner of baseball, the head of baseball, put an asterisk, like a little star, beside Roger Maris's record, because he said he did it in 162 games, and it took Babe Ruth 154 games, so they thought it wasn't quite the same. It's really not, but it's still. Anyway, the record was 61 home runs until Mark McGwire broke it in about 1998. And then Barry Bonds broke that, hit 73, I think. Anyway, you know, I've followed baseball a long time. Baseball's been fun. But anyway, where would this ball be? I gotta find this ball.
Is it in a package?
I have moved them around. Balls have gotten moved around. Like your hat has the Pippin's autographs on it. Well, I used to go to Seattle Rainier games. Seattle Rainiers were a minor league team at that time, and at that time they were for the Cincinnati Reds. Anyway, and I got this ball, then later became Boston Red Sox. Someone went to Boston, but I got this ball, and in the spring of 1962, in April of 1962, I had this ball that I had my Mariner autographs on it, and I went down there, and there was a guy who was now on the Seattle Rainiers. His name was Tracy Stallard, and he had been with the Red Sox. In September, Major League Baseball rosters expand. They can bring up more players and have more players on their team. And so in September of 1961, this guy named Tracy Stallard got brought up to be a part-time pitcher for the Red Sox. And he was the guy who was pitching when Roger Maris hit his 61st home run. And so I got Tracy Stallard's autograph. And I asked him what it felt like to give up that home run. He said it not too good. Oh, this is Dave Valley. Dave Valley was a catcher for the Mariners, and he announces some games for the Mariners now. Where would that ball be? Oh, here's my Brooks Robinson autograph ball. He was the great third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles, and he was in fact, God, I don't even know where it would be now.
Is it right there?
No, well, I've got a magazine someplace. I've got stuff all over. It might be in the, I don't know where it'd be.
What's back there, Chuck?
Well,
A bunch of baseball cards and uniforms.
I have more baseball cards up here. You know, these are different baseball cards I bought. And I just got to come down here and try to organize all these cards. What was I saying? What was I looking for?
I'm looking for a ball that was signed.
Yeah, but I was... Oh, well, there's also a magazine. Might be underneath one of these. But Anyway, when I was going to see Brooks Robinson, I looked through this I had these magazines. There was a magazine called there was a magazine called, I think it was called Sport Magazine.
Is it that ball?
No. I got balls all over. I have to go through this ball. Tommy Lasorda, here's a ball. This one shouldn't be back there. Tommy Lasorda's name is Wearing Away. Tommy Lasorda was manager of the Dodgers, and now he's an announcer. He's really a fun guy. And one day, with your great grandma Seal, I was at a Mariner game, and we got a giveaway of a bobblehead or something. And I didn't want to keep all the bobbleheads, so you can leave Safeco Field and then come back in. They'll scan your ticket so you can come back in. So I took I took whatever we had to our car, and I was standing right across from the home plate entrance to Safeco Field. And I had this hat on. And I was standing waiting for the light to change, and I heard this voice behind me talking. And I go, I know that voice. I know that. So I go, I knew. So I turned around, and it was Tommy Lasorda, the manager who used to manage for the Dodgers. He knew he was up here going to watch the game. And so I didn't have a ball, and I had this hat, and I had a terrible little pen like this. And so he was on the phone talking to somebody, so I waited, and when he got off the phone, I said, Mr. Lasorda, could I have your autograph? And so he signed my hat. And I told him that I had run into him. Lena and I went to the All-Star game in Seattle in 1979. That Major League All-Star game was in Seattle, and I got tickets to go. And when we were walking into the stadium, here came a taxi cab. And when the guy got out of the taxi, and right out beside it was Tommy Lasorda. And I shook his hand. And he went, so I told him about that story and asked him. So he signed my hat, but it completely faded away. But when he signed my hat, I said, I got good news and bad news. Lena said, I got to buy a new hat because can't wear this hat anymore. But his autograph faded away. But I ran into him at a Yakima Bears game a few years later or sometime, and I took this ball down and he signed it. So I've run into Tommy sort of 2 times, just by chance. Anyway, I've got lots of baseball cards and lots of... But the backstory I was telling you about Brooks Robinson, I had this old magazine that had a picture of Brooks Robinson and when he was a player, like when he first came up, when he was a rookie, and it was like they would put prospects to watch, and he was one of those prospects to watch. So I took this when I saw Brooks Robinson. He signed that for me too, and he signed that ball. And then I actually got my picture taken with him. So it's pretty neat. But there's a lot of stories with. And then when I go to different stadiums, like last summer we went to the Angels Stadium, and all the boys got an Angels hat, and then I got that Angels hat. And when I go to a stadium, I always buy a hat from that stadium. That's my souvenir. So I've been to a lot of stadiums. I got to go to Fenway Park, I got to go to Yankee Stadium, I got to go to Dodger Stadium, I got to go to the old Candlestick Park, was where the Giants used to play, and that's gone. I got to go to the new stadium in San Francisco, I got to go to see the Kansas City A's, but I didn't get a hat when I went to that one. Now they're the Oakland A's, and I took your Aunt Gretchen to a game in Oakland. Then I got my Oakland hat. Anyway, and I got to go to Chicago see the White Sox play, and I got to go to Chicago and see the Cubs play. So only all different hats are from different stadiums. Yankee hat.
Well, Chuck, thanks so much. Can you thank Uncle Chuck for
It's fun.
showing you this? Get these guys here lined up. I want to get a picture. Hey, everybody, get in here. Get in here with your grandpa. Come on.
Smile. And when he was a rookie, he got drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Yakima Bears used to be the Dodgers rookie team. And he got drafted and came and played his rookie season here with the Bears. And this bat was broke. And one summer I was working, the Bears put on a clinic that I helped with. Young kids go down and learn how to hit, pitch, catch, throw, and so on. So I was one of the instructors down helping with it. And then I was able to get this broken bat of Paul Konerko's. And there's no autograph, but he put his initials on it. So I always thought he would become a good ball player. And how I don't think he'll make the Hall of Fame, but he's really been a good ball player.
He had a great career.
And so I was going to try to take this over to, and this was 1994, Yakima Bears. I wrote that on there. And so he's had almost a 20-year career. But I was going to try to go to a White Sox game and try to have him sign it, but I never got over there when he was there. Anyway. You have to pick cotton? That's what it grows on.
Ooh.
I got that when I lived in Alabama.
Where's the ball to this?
I don't know. Probably one of the kids has lost it.